It's no surprise that a lot of millennials are struggling financially. I mean, some millennials are struggling to buy homes, others are struggling to buy cars, and others are just flat out broke. Well, in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 ways that millennials are accidentally ruining their finances. That way you don't do one of these 5 things. What's up, everybody? I'm Jaspreet Singh from the MinorityMindset.com, where money minds rethink rich. Many millennials are struggling financially. Some of them are just flat out broke. Some of them don't have any savings. Some of them don't have any investments. But there's a lot more to it than just millennials going out and spending $5 at Starbucks. Yes, the extra guac too. I've talked about this before, but we have a higher cost of living because the price of everything keeps going up. And we have a higher standard of living because it feels like every month there's a new technology, or there's a new software, or there's a new thing that everybody just has to have. And so there's a new cost that people in the past generation didn't have to deal with. And we have wages that are not keeping up. And so it's harder and harder for people to put more money aside to save for a down payment on a home. It's harder for people to have money to buy a car with cash. It's harder for people to have money to start investing. And it's harder for people just to have a savings cushion because we have so many expenses, but we don't have enough income coming in to pay for all of these expenses. Now, obviously, some of the issue here is the system. I mean, we live in a system where we're never taught about money. Financial education is not something that we're taught in school. And we're also living in a system where the value of our dollars keep being diluted because of inflation. And we're living in a system where a lot of us just are never taught how to actually become wealthy. But at the same time, we also have a spending issue where many of us just don't know what to do with our money, and sometimes you're accidentally doing something that's ruining your finances. Now, as a millennial myself, I've seen a lot of millennials ruin their finances. But today, I want to take a step back and go over 5 ways that millennials are accidentally ruining their finances. That way you don't make one of these mistakes. But before we do that, I need you to do me a quick favor and smash that thumbs up button below. The first way that millennials accidentally ruin their finances is you don't invest your money. If you're like most people, you went through school, high school, and college, and now you got a degree, and now you go start working somewhere, and you don't really have much of an idea on how to manage your money or invest your money or budget for wealth. You just go and start working, and now you have a paycheck for the first time in your life, and now you don't know what to do with it. Your boss tells you about a 401k, so maybe you're putting a little bit of your money into your 401k, but besides that, you don't know what to do with your money, so you just go out and you spend it. Here's the thing, your 401k was never intended to be your sole retirement plan. And this is where so many people get their finances wrong because they think, yeah, I'm investing my money, I have a 401k. Your 401k is not enough. If you have a 401k, that's good, but it's not enough. You have to be investing your money outside of your 401k yourself if you ever want to have a chance to retire wealthy or just retire financially free. What I want you to do from now on, if you're not doing this, is now anytime you get paid, anytime money comes into your bank account, you need to take 15% of this money before you spend it on anything else. You need to take 15% of this money and you just need to invest it. The reason why this is so important is because if you have time on your side, you have a much better shot at becoming wealthy than if you start investing later, even if you invest more aggressively. Like if you start investing just $250 a month when you are 25 years old. So you're starting this when you're 25 years old. And you do this until you retire. And you just try to get an average return in the stock market. So now you retire. You will retire a millionaire. You will have about $1 million in your account with this just $250 monthly investment, assuming you start when you're 25 years old. But if you don't realize this until your 40s, and now you're 45 years old, and you're like, shoot, I need to start planning for my retirement. And now you do the same thing. You start investing the same $250 a month. Well, by the time you hit retirement, you're not going to have $1 million. You're only going to have something like $400,000 in your account because you started so much later. This is why investing your money is so important, because if you want to retire financially free or wealthy, you have to be investing your money. The simplest thing you can do is just take 15% of your paycheck and invest it every single month. There are ways for you to automate this that we don't have. Got the marker back. That was a scary one. Didn't get it on my shirt. But there are ways for you to automate this. That way you don't have to worry about doing this every single month. Our team put together an amazing article on our website that will walk you through how to automatically invest your money. That way you can have $250 or whatever you want going into your investment account, going into funds. That way you don't have to worry about it. And this can just happen on the side, because the key to becoming wealthy is investing your money. Now, in order for this to work, you need to start investing your money early. That way you have more time on your side. Time is one of the most important factors there is when it comes to actually building wealth, because time lets your money compound, it lets your money grow, and then it lets the money that your money made grow, and then it lets the money that your money's money made grow. So the more time you had, the more money your money can make, and this is more money that can work for you to attract you more money. It kills me on the inside when I see somebody graduate school, get a good job, and the first thing they do is they go to the BMW dealership or they go to the Audi dealership and they get themselves a brand new car, and now they're paying $500-600 a month for the brand new car, but they have $0 going to their investments every single month. If you have $500 or $600 going to your car payment every single month, but you do not have $500 or $600 going towards your investments, your priorities are in the wrong way. You will never have a chance to become wealthy if you're using your money like this. The first thing you got to do is you got to invest your money into yourself first. Once you do that, now, if you have some money left, now you can use this money to go out and buy yourself a nice car or the luxuries. Now, if you do want to learn more about how to manage your money or invest your money the right way, our team put together an amazing PDF that goes through how to do this. I'll also link that for you in the description below. The second way that millennials accidentally ruin their finances is they live in net zero. So I came up with this term net zero spending back when I used to guest teach in Detroit public schools. I used to go there every single week and I would talk about entrepreneurship and money management and just a whole bunch of kind of general life financial skills. And I was talking to the kids and I learned that a lot of these kids lived with a net zero spending mindset. The way it works is you go to work and you make some money. And now when you have this money in the bank, you feel like you need to spend all this money because you live in net zero. The whole idea is I make $100 right now, and now I need to go out and spend $100 because I have $100 in the account. This was a very common mindset in the schools over there because many of the kids had jobs. They were all making money. But the thing was, many of these kids thought that if they had $100 in the bank account, they could go out and spend $100 because, well, I have $100. This is net zero thinking, and net zero thinking is why so many Americans are broke. If you have $100, you should not go out and spend all $100. This is where you got to understand that just because you have money in your account does not mean that you have to go out and spend this money. First off, you got to stop spending money on things that you don't need just because you have money in your account, okay? You don't have to spend the money that you have in your account. If you feel like you just need, where you need to get rid of this money, where you have to spend this money money on your investments, on your assets, things that will actually make you wealthy. But now, if you go back to the things that were now, you're just spending your money because you want nicer shoes, you want nicer clothes, just because you have money in your account doesn't mean that you can afford it. There's a difference between being able to afford something and being able to buy something. So if you want to actually afford something that you do not need to survive, one of the easiest things that you can do that we don't follow this net zero thinking is follow our rule of 5. Our rule of 5 says if you cannot buy 5 of them, you cannot afford 1 of them. If you follow this rule of 5, you will not fall into this net zero trap that so many people are falling into, because this net zero mindset is the #1 reason why so many people will never become wealthy, because you're spending all your money just because you feel like you need to spend it. The third way that millennials accidentally ruin their finances is they just keep following the hype. People made a lot of money back during the 2017 Bitcoin boom, but do you want to know who lost money? It was people that were just following the hype. Some people made a lot of money during the GameStop short squeeze, but do you want to know who lost money? It was people that just followed the hype. Some people have made a lot of money with the Tesla stock, but do you know who lost money? People who just keep following the hype. Everybody in the world wants to be financially successful and wealthy. If somebody tells you otherwise, they're either lying through their teeth or they're just so extremely privileged that they don't have to worry about money. But the reality is, it's also human nature to kind of be attracted to becoming wealthy or rich quickly. I mean, if you had the option to become wealthy quickly or slowly, who wouldn't pick become wealthy quickly? And so a lot of people get attracted to the idea of becoming wealthy quickly, but the issue with that is it's also kind of easier for you to get lured into things that are more risky investments just because you get attracted to this idea of making a lot of money quickly. And so now you put your money into someplace because you see everybody else making money, it gets exciting and it becomes hot. And so now you try to follow the hype, you try to follow the trend, but then you get in a little bit too late, things come down, and now you panic, you sell, maybe it goes up later or who knows, but you've already lost your money because you followed the hype, but it didn't just keep going up straight to the moon like you thought it was going to. I like to look at probabilities here. Can you become wealthy by investing in the next hot stock or company or investment right before it pops, right before this investment 10x's or 100x's? That way you can make money very quickly. Yes, some people will become wealthy by doing that, but it's a very small percent of people that actually become wealthy. Most people who actually become wealthy over the long term by slowly investing their money into something that will continue to become more valuable, that will grow over time. This is the way that the majority of people become wealthy. Very few people actually become wealthy by gambling their money into something that's hot and trendy, hoping that they're gonna get rich overnight. If you wanna become wealthy and stay wealthy over the long term, you have to understand investing. You have to understand why you're investing. You have to understand where you're investing. You can't just keep trading your money into the next hot stock, hoping that you're gonna keep doubling your money essentially overnight. It is impossible for most people to continually beat the market through these trading the next hot stock. Sure, maybe you'll become lucky a few times and you'll make some quick money, but you wanna make sure you understand that if you did make some money, you wanna put it somewhere where you can actually keep your money, okay? Being an emotional hype investor or trader in this case is not a path to long-term wealth. Yes, you can make some money very quickly, but if you want to keep this money and grow this money for the long term, you got to understand how to invest your money for the long term. The fourth way that millennials accidentally ruin their finances is by falling in love with debt. If you're like most people, you're graduating school with $30,000 or $40,000 worth of student loans, and now it's time for you to get your first big boy or big girl job, and now you got your job, and now you need a way to get to and from work. And so, like I said at the beginning of this video, what do? Well, now you got your first big boy, big girl job, so you need a big boy, big girl car. And instead of buying yourself something that you can afford or something that's a little bit more affordable, you go to the BMW dealership, you go to the Audi dealership, and now you got a $600 car payment because now you wanted to buy this $40,000, $50,000 car because you got a nice job. And so now you just racked up another $45,000 worth of car loans that you have to pay back. Now you start working and then you meet this cute girl. And you want to impress this girl, so you want to have nice clothes, and you want to have nice stuff. So now you start shopping a little bit more, and you don't have all the cash to buy this stuff, so you just put it on your credit card. And now you rack up $5,000 worth of credit card debt. Now this girl starts to like you, or you can flip genders, it really doesn't matter, it's the same thing. And now you want to get married, and now you have to pay for your wedding. And you realize that weddings are expensive, you need an engagement ring that hopefully, I'm gonna assume here, that you buy with cash, even though there's a huge new booming industry of financing engagement rings. But let's assume that you just pay for this engagement ring with cash, but now because you bought this engagement ring with cash, you have no more money to pay for your wedding, so now you take out another $25,000 loan to pay for your wedding. Now that you're married, you wanna settle down, and your parents and your friends keep telling you that you should be a homeowner. So now you go out and you get a $200,000 mortgage. That way you can go out and buy a home. Now here you are, a young adult in the workforce, and you have more than $300,000 worth of debt that you're working to pay off. And we haven't even talked about paying for kids yet. And so now you're making money, but anytime you make money, your money is constantly going off to pay your debts and to pay for your basic living costs. So you don't have money to now really invest your money or to build the savings cushion because you have all this debt that you want to pay off. And I'm not even talking about going out and financing your equipment and financing your furniture and financing your wardrobe and financing a whole bunch of other stuff that people are starting to do now. And this also assumes that we're not talking about an Indian wedding, because if we're talking about an Indian wedding, you're not going to be paying $25,000 for an Indian wedding. You're gonna add another zero to that because Indian weddings are massive. The thing with Indian weddings is Indian weddings last like a week long, and a small intimate Indian wedding is something like 300 people. You'll see a lot of Indian weddings that have 500, 600, maybe even 1,000 people at their weddings. I've been to quite a few 1,000-person weddings. And so I'll save that topic for a different video. The thing that I'm trying to get at here with debt is that debt can be very expensive. And so you gotta start understanding that, okay, you are now trying to become wealthy. You're trying to build wealth for yourself. You don't want to build wealth for your bank. if you want to do that, you got to stay away from debt on things, especially that are not paying you, because none of these things are making you any money. Well, I guess your student loans can make you money, but in general, you want to stay away from consumer loans, which are things that don't make you any money. Consumer debt, things right here, are things that make your bank rich, but they don't make you any money. Okay, so here's where you got to go back to the net zero thinking. Remember that you don't want to just spend all your money. You got to start understanding what you can afford, and meaning afford with cash. And you got to understand that you do not want to finance things that do not pay you. Stop going into debt to pay for things that you cannot afford. And I'm talking about credit card debt. I'm talking about car loans. Stop living a lifestyle that's beyond your means. And the fifth way that millennials accidentally ruin their finances is by letting emotions run their finances. Corporations know that people are emotional, and they take full advantage of it. I mean, as soon as stimulus checks were sent out, when the $600 check was sent out, what happened? Well, Gucci took their $600 purses and they put them in the front of the store, and then you saw a line out the Gucci store because lots of people were emotional. They had this free money and now they wanted to spend it. Same thing when the $1,400 check came out. People get emotional. They want to have the nice things because they feel like they deserve it now. This kind of mentality of feeling like I deserve something now because I worked so hard, not because I deserve it now because I have the money, is why so many people will continue to be broke, because we live and we spend on emotion instead of paying attention to finances. You gotta understand, this I gotta have it now mentality has made so many people rich. It's not the people that gotta have it now, it's the people selling things and selling services to the people that gotta have it now. These companies that are selling things to people that gotta have it now are getting rich, and now you have this new boom in industries that let you buy things now and pay for it later, because people and companies know that people are emotional. So if you are an emotional spender and you gotta have it now, well, now I can just create the software or the system that lets you buy whatever you want now, and you can pay for it in installments with just a little bit of interest, 22%, and now I'm getting rich, you get it now, and you get to stay broke forever. If you do not have the discipline of understanding what you can afford and understanding what you need right now and understanding how to use your money the right way, you will never have a chance to become wealthy. At this point, it does not matter how much money you make, because even if you make $1 million, well, when you got this emotional mindset where when you want something, you got to have it now. Well, when you have $1 million, now you have more fuel to buy a whole bunch of nice things. Yeah, when you are a millionaire, you can afford to buy nicer things, but you're not going to go out and buy $1 million worth of things if you only have $1 million. So this is where you got to understand that you got to take out this emotional lifestyle. I mean, you got to really break away from the majority mindset thinking. This is why we call ourselves the minority mindset, because we live in an emotional culture. We live in a debt culture. We live in a spending culture. So we live in this culture where it is completely normal to want something and then have it now, because when you want it, why would you wait? Why would you wait till you can afford it? Because there are so many options. There are so many tools that make it easy for you to have what you want right now. This is fueling that emotional lifestyle. But if you really want to become wealthy, you got to get out of your emotions and you got to understand financially what you can afford and what you cannot afford. This is going to be one of the biggest determiners of whether you become wealthy or not. This is what you do with your money. And if you're making emotional decisions, it is going to be very hard for you to become wealthy. But if you can have that discipline to understand, okay, I'm going to invest my money. Now I got this money left. What am I going to do with it? Where am I going to spend it? How much am I going to spend? Where am I going to blow it? If you can be smart with your money, now you have a much better shot at becoming wealthy. If you enjoyed this video, here's the video of things that you should not do when you get paid that I think you love. And while you're at it, download a free money management PDF. And as always, keep hustling. And if they were living off of $15,000 a year, they wouldn't be able to maintain that same lifestyle. So no ordering extra guac. Well, I guess that's not entirely correct, because if you were 30 years old back in the early 1980s and you're planning to retire now, then